I've finally got around to properly fitting out the dust collection system in my shop. I've had this jet dust collector for several years, but it was just hooked up ad hoc. Flexible hoses ran across the floor to the tools, which was certainly suboptimal. First, I had to rearrange my shop to make room for the dust collector and ductwork, and I moved tools to better location for both tool usage and connection to the ducting. I deconstructed the dust collector and reconfigured it in a more convenient location. The impeller and motor are mounted on the wall so that the path the air takes through the system is minimized. I've added a dust deputy cyclone to separate out the sawdust and wood bits before they reach the impeller and the dust bag and filter. The cyclone dumps directly into a trash can that is much easier to deal with than the original dust bag. That dust bag is still in place for the small amount of dust that gets past the cyclone. The main controller is in this black box. It and the blast gate controllers are based on an Atbel AT-Tiny84 microcontroller. It monitors the switches at the tools and opens and closes the automatic blast gates as needed using these relays. Then it turns on the dust collector using this relay-controlled outlet. The main branches of the ductwork are 5 inches in diameter, so carry significantly more air volume than the previous 4-inch flexible hoses. There are blast gates at each junction and each tool to limit the suction to be only at the tool in use. The first branch goes to the drill press and the router table. The router table can have suction from above or below. This is controlled by manual blast gates, but usually it's just set to be above. The ductwork continues up and along the ceiling until it branches down to the table saw. Here it branches to provide suction from above or below, but again, extraction from the top is preferred. The main trunk continues on after an automatic blast gate that is hard to see here, but you can see the need for automation since the blast gate is kind of hard to reach. The trunk goes over to the miter saw, where it comes down directly into the miter saw hood after a branch off to the planer. This is one of the automatic blast gates that I designed and built. I've programmed it to open and close the blast gate as needed. This is the blast gate controller. I programmed it as a generic servo controller that can move a servo between 2 positions. Each controller can actually control up to 4 servos. This display and button board can be connected to the controller to configure the open and closed positions. These then get saved to EEPROM. The switch can be used to verify the open and closed positions of the blast gate. The numbers on the display correspond to those positions, with open on the left and closed on the right. There are buttons to increase and decrease each of these values. The servos are only powered when moving the blast gate, so after the servo drives the gate to the desired position, it can be manually moved to confirm that the gate is all the way open or closed, and the servo positions can be adjusted as necessary. The servo isn't strong enough to move the blast gate against gravity, so it needs to be positioned so that the motion is horizontal. When the switch is set to auto, the main controller is in charge of when to open and close the blast gate. At each of the tools, there are 1 or 2 manual blast gates. A switch signals to the main controller to open the automatic blast gates leading to this tool, and then turn on the dust collector. When the blast gate is closed again, the dust collector is turned off. The automatic blast gates are left in the same positions in anticipation of using this tool again. I installed a wooden handle that presses against a micro switch when the blast gate is in the closed position. This indicates to the main controller whether the blast gate is closed or open. I installed a shark guard for dust extraction at the blade of the table saw, and it's a significant improvement over suction from below the table. The blast gate for the miter saw is behind this hood, so I installed the switch here instead. I'm extremely happy with the dust extraction as a planer. It generates a lot of dust and was always a problem. The hose is fitted with a quick disconnect, so I can swap it out with the hose to the bandsaw.